Alright, today we're going to go over the review worksheet for 2.5 and 2.6. I'm hoping it's going to be one part, but it probably won't be. So part 1 is going to start at number 1 and see how far we're going to go. Number 1 was x squared plus x minus 17 divided by x minus 4. The first thing you have to do is you have to make a box. So I make the box. I put x squared plus x minus 17 in the box. I put x minus 4 outside the box. Alright, now I'm going to do something, so that's what step 2 is, or step 1. Step 2 says identify, I call them line meters. Do your scratch work, and then you just, step 3 is just kind of be rinse and repeat. So, in this problem, I have x out front. That's my line meter for the outside. I have x squared as my line meter for the inside. So I always call this scratch work. It's not really scratch as in you don't need it. It's just like grammatically it doesn't fit inside the problem. So I have x times something to give me x squared. The only thing that's going to work is x. I created this x right here, so I put it out on top of the box. Now, that x I always line it up with the other x's, because it's going to make my life a little bit easier in the end. I multiply it by everything out front. X times x is x squared. X times negative 4 is minus 4x. Now I want these to cancel. So in order for these to cancel, I have to change the signs. So if I change this to negative, I have to change that to a positive. The reason I change that sign is because now when I add them together, I get 0. And if I don't get that 0, then I know there's a mistake. X and 4x is 5x. Now I drop down to minus 17. Now that's what step 2 is. Do line meters, do scratch work. Step 3, repeat till I'm done. We'll see how I still have space here after x, because there's a ones place. That means I'm going to go again. So now I have the same line meter in the front, x, but now I have a new line meter, 5x. So what can I multiply by? Just 5. And that should make sense because I should think I have a ones because I'm lined up with the ones. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 4 is minus 20. Now I have to change my signs again, because if I don't, those don't cancel. But if I change that one, I change the other one, then I'm left with 3. That's my remainder. So my final answer is x plus 5 plus, can I get x plus 5 from right there? Plus my remainder, 3 over x minus 4. And that's it. Alright, number 2, I have x cubed plus 3x squared plus 3x plus 2, all divided by x minus 1. So once again, I make my box. I put that on the outside, or in the inside. So I have x cubed plus 3x squared plus 3x plus 2. I put x minus 1 on the outside. And now I do my line meters. I have x. I want to get x cubed. X times x squared will give me x cubed. So I'm going to put x squared up top. And notice I line it up right there. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times minus 1 is minus 1 x squared. Change both signs. That makes it a 0. That makes it 4x squared. And I drop down everything. Now I just rinse and repeat. So now I have a new line meter, 4x squared. So x times what is going to give me 4x squared? Well, just 4x. 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times the minus 1 is minus 4x. Change the signs, which makes that a minus, which makes that a plus. So I now have 7x. And then the 2 drops down. Since I still have a 1 space, I know there's more to go. I have x. I need to multiply something to get 7x. Well, that something is 7, so I put plus 7 here. 7 times x is 7x. 7 times negative 1 is minus 7. Change both signs. My remainder becomes 9. So my final answer becomes x squared plus 4x plus 7. And then the remainder theorem tells me I take my remainder and I put it over my divisor, x minus 1. And I'm done. Alright, number 3, we have 3x cubed plus 11x squared plus 4x plus 1, all divided by x squared plus x. So I make my box, I put 3x cubed plus 11x squared plus 4x plus 1 inside the box, x squared plus x outside the box. Now, I do my whole line meter thing again. Front line meter is x squared, inside line meter is 3x cubed. So I need to multiply x squared by something to get 3x cubed, well that something's going to be 3x. So I'm picking that 3x, so I write 3x up top. 3x multiplies by everything up top, so 3x times x squared is 3x cubed. 3x times x is plus 3x squared. Change both the signs, which makes that a minus, which makes that a minus, and that turns into a 0. Now I only put the 0 there just as a self-check. And then 11x squared minus 3x squared is 8x squared. I drop down my 4x and my 1, and I just restart. So now I have x squared times what is going to give me 8x squared. So I'm going to say just 8. So I put plus 8 right there. Now I already think that I'm going to be done with this because I'm out of space. But just to double check, let's go again. 8 times x squared is 8x squared. 8 times x is plus 8x. Change the signs. I get minus 4x plus 1. Since minus 4x is a smaller degree than x squared, I know that is my remainder. So my final answer becomes 3x plus 8. And then you add your remainder, so that's negative 4x plus 1 all over x squared plus x. And that's it. Alright, number 4. We have 5x to the 4th minus 2x cubed minus 7x squared minus 39 divided by x squared plus 2x minus 4. Inside the box, I put 5x squared minus 2x cubed minus 7x squared. I put a 0x because there is no x, and I like that placeholder there, minus 39. Because I can't do my countdown. 4, 3, 2, there is no x to the first, so that's why I put 0x, and then negative 39. On the outside, I put x squared plus 2x minus 4. Now I go through and do everything exactly the same. X squared times what is going to give me 5x to the 4th? Well, 5x squared. 5x squared times x squared is 5x to the 4th. 5x squared plus 2 is plus 10x cubed. 5x squared times minus 4 is minus 20x squared. Now I change all the signs, so this becomes minus, this becomes minus, this becomes plus. That cancels, that turns to minus 12x cubed. That turns into 13x squared. I drop down the 0x, even though it's just a placeholder, I still drop it down. I drop down to minus 39. I have a new light meter. X squared times what is going to give me minus 12x cubed minus 12x. So I put minus 12x. Minus 12x times x squared is minus 12x cubed. Minus 12x times 2 is minus 24x squared. Minus 12x times minus 4 is plus 48x. Change all the signs, plus, plus, minus. So now I get 0. I get 37x squared minus 48x minus 39. Rinse and repeat. X squared times what is going to give me 37x squared? I just put 37, so that's why it's plus 37. 37 times x squared is 37x squared. 37 times 2 is plus 74x. 37 times 4 is minus 148. So it's minus 148. Change all the signs. Minus becomes plus. We end up with negative 122x plus 109. So my final answer becomes 5x squared minus 12x plus 37 plus my remainder minus 122x plus 109 all over x squared plus 2x minus 4. And that's it. Alrighty, we're going to follow the synthetic division steps now. Remember, first step is you're going to make the box. So you're going to make your synthetic box, looks like that. Step 2, you're going to put your coefficients inside. Divisor form, you're going to put the opposite outside. So I put 2, -7, and 10. Because that's hanging out, -5 is hanging out with my x, we don't trust them, I'm going to put +5. Step 3, you're going to add on the inside, multiply outside. So there's nothing now with 2. 2 plus 0 is 2. Now 2 is on the outside. 2 times 5 is 10. So I put the product there. I add on the inside. 10 and -7 is 3. 3 is on the outside, so I multiply. 3 times 5 is 15. Put that there. 25. Your last number is always your remainder. All right. Step 4 is to put your variables back in. It's 1 degree less. Because division makes something smaller. I have something to the second power. I start 1 degree less, so it becomes 2x plus 3 plus my remainder all over my divisor x minus 5. And that's it. Alright, so make our box. I put 1, 8, and 1 inside the box. Remember, there's a 1 in front of there. That's hanging out with an x, so I put -4 outside. 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 times -4 is -4. 8 and -4 is 4. -4 times 4 is -16. -15 is my remainder. So my final answer becomes 1 degree less, so it was x squared, now it's x plus 4 plus my remainder, -15 over x plus 4, that's my divisor. Alright, in 7, I'm going to have 1, -5, 0, -2. I need a placeholder. +4 goes on the outside. Drop down the 1. 1 times 4 is 4. -1, -4. 0, -4 is -4. -4, -4 is -16. -18 is my remainder. I always circle at the end so I know that's my remainder, in case I forget to break this down correctly. So this becomes x squared minus x minus 4 plus my remainder, -18, all over x minus 4. And that's it. Notice, now that we're on synthetic division, things are flying a lot quicker. That's why we prefer synthetic division, because it is much faster. Alright, so once again, this is in divisor form because it's x plus or minus the number. And that means we're going to change the number on the outside. Put 1, -5, -8, 13, -12 inside the box. I put 6 outside the box. Drop that to 1. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 6 is 6. Gets -2. 6 times -2 is -12. Gives me -1. -6 gives me -18. -18 as my remainder. So I end up with x cubed plus x squared minus 2x plus 1 plus -18 all over x minus 6. And that's it. Alright, number 9 through 12, they're giving you a factor. So 9 through 12, you're going to have no remainder. You're going to change your sign because it is in divisor form. And your answer is going to look like 3 sets of parentheses because it's saying factor. Alright, so I still make my box. I have 1, -10, 19, and 30. Instead of -6, I'm put 6 outside the box. Drop it down. 1 times 6 is 6, gives me -4. 6 times -4 is -25, or -24, which gives me -5. 6 times -5 is -30. Gives me no remainder. If you get a remainder, it means you messed up on the division. That shouldn't happen. So now I have x squared minus 4x minus 5. How do you get x squared? Well, x and x. How do you get -5? Well, 5 and -1, or -5 and +1. -5 and 1 is going to give me -4 in the middle. So this becomes x minus 5, x plus 1. Now remember, we need to have 3 parentheses. So this x minus 6 comes in and fills out the third parentheses. That's your answer. And that's it for 9. Alright, number 10. We have x cubed minus 2x squared minus 40x minus 64, x minus 8. Positive 8 goes outside the box. 1, -2, -40, -64 goes inside. Drop down the 1. 1 times 8 is 8, gives me -6. 8 times -6 is -48. It's a +6, so it's a +48. Gives me 8 times 8 is +64. Now I have no remainder. So I'm left with x squared plus 6x plus 8. How do you get 8? Well, 4 and 2, or 1 and 8. 4 and 2 will add up to be 6 in the middle. So this is x plus 2, x plus 4. I drop down the x minus 8 to get my third set of parentheses. And that's it. Moving on. Alright, 11 we have x cubed plus 2x squared minus 51x plus 108 with x plus 9 as your divisor, or your given factor. Remember, they're giving you that information so you don't have to find p's and q's. Make my box. 1, 2, -51, and positive 108. Put -9 on the outside because remember, we are changing signs. Drop on the 1. 1 times -9 is -9. Gives me a -7. Gives me a positive 63. Gives me a positive 12. Gives me -108, which is no remainder. Now that becomes x squared minus 7x plus 12. How do I get 12? Well, I could have 3 and 4. I could have 2 and 6. I could have 1 and 12. And because this is a negative in the middle, remember you could also have negative, 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 negative. Well, -3 and -4 gives me -7 in the middle. So this becomes x minus 3, x minus 4, and then x plus 9 comes right here. And that's it. Alright, 18, we have 2x cubed minus 15x squared plus 34x minus 21, and your given factor is x minus 1. So you make your box. 2, -15, 34, minus 21. I put positive 1 on the outside. It should work. Let's see. Drop down the 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Gives me -13. Gives me -13. Gives me positive 21. 1 times 21 is positive 21. No remainder. Means I have 2x squared minus 13x plus 21. Because 2x squared, we must guess and check. We can't do the adding trick that we've been doing before. We can't just say, well, 3 and 7 is supposed to add up to 13. It's not going to work that way. So we have two options, 3 and 7, 1 and 21, or both, all of them being negative. They're all going to be negative because it's a negative in the middle. Now how do I get 2x squared? 2x and x. So I know it's going to be 2x and x. I'm going to try 3 and 7. going to try negative 3 and negative 7. 2x and negative 7 is minus 14x, minus 3x. Together it's minus 17x. It's not what I have in the middle, so that's not going to work. So I'm going to try something else. Now before I try 1 and 21, I'm going to flip. I'm going to try minus 7 or minus 3. I do the outside. I get minus 6x. I do the inside. I get minus 7x. I'm going to get minus 13x. So that's correct. So that means my final answer is going to be those two. And I'm going to take x minus 1. So that's my final answer for that. That's it. Alright, 13 we have a box. Everybody gets really confused when they see the box. It's just like a problem through 9 through 12 where you get to pick the factor first. So I'm going to start with x plus 6. So I make my box. I put 1, 13, 34, and minus 48 inside the box. I'm going to use x plus 6, so I put negative 6 outside the box. Drop it down. 1 and negative 6 is negative 6. Gives me 7. Negative 6 and 7 is negative 42. Gives me minus 8. Minus 6 and minus 8 is plus 48. No remainder. Gives me x squared plus 7x minus 8. I could factor, just like we've been doing beforehand. But I'm just going to make a new box. I'm going to put 1, 7, and negative 8. And now I'm going to use x minus 1. So I put 1 on the outside. Because that's also a factor. 1 times 1 is 1. 7 and 1 is 8. 1 times 8 is 8. No remainder. So that means my answer has to be x plus 8. Alright, that's it for 13. It's just that simple. And actually I went crazy there. I don't know why I did 15 first. That was 15. So I'll go back and do 13 and 14. So I don't know what I was thinking. So that was actually 15. Okay. Alright, 13, they're giving you a 0. So remember 13 and 14, you're once again going to have no remainder. But now you're not going to change the sign because it's in 0 form. So do not change your sign. And your answer is going to look like x is equal to something. So forth. That is in 0 form. So because of that, you're not changing your sign. Remember, think about it. I don't see an x anywhere, so I can trust that negative 3. So I make the box. 1, negative 2, negative 21, minus 18. I put negative 3 outside the box. Drop down the 1. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. Gives me negative 5. Negative 3 and negative 5 is positive 15. Gives me negative 6. Negative 3 and negative 6 is positive 18. So I get no remainder, just like I thought. And once again, just like we did before, x squared minus 5x minus 6. Well, how did I get minus 6? Minus 6 and 1, or 6 and negative 1, or you could have 2 and 3, 2 and negative 3, or negative 2 and positive 3. Negative 6 and 1 gives me the negative 5. So this is actually x minus 6, x plus 1. Now remember, 0 form means you set them equal to 0. So I say x minus 6 equals 0, so x is equal to positive 6. X plus 1 equals 0, so x is equal to negative 1. Those are my two answers. Alright, 14, we have 10x cubed minus 81x squared plus 71x plus 42. 7 is my 0. I put 7 on the outside. 10 minus 81 plus 71 plus 42. Drop down the 10. 7 times 10 is 70. Gives me negative 11. Gives me negative 77. Gives me negative 6. 7 and negative 6 is negative 42. So I get no remainder, just like I thought. Remember, if you get a remainder, you made a mistake. So now I have 10x squared minus 11x minus 6. You could use the quadratic formula. But I'm just going to factor it. I'm going to say that I can get 10x squared by 5x and 2x, or 10x and 1x. And how do I get negative 6? How about negative 2 and 3, or negative 1 and 6? So I'm going to guess 2x I'm going to guess 2x plus 3, 5x minus 2. Check the outside. 2x and negative 2 is minus 4x. The inside is 3 and 5x. That's a 15x. Together that's positive 11x. Right number, wrong sign. So that means all I have to do is change the signs. So this becomes 2x minus 3 and plus 2. So the outside then becomes 2x and 2 is 4x. The inside becomes minus 15x, which gives me minus 11x in the middle. Now I set them both equal to 0, so I get 2x minus 3 equals 0. 5x plus 2 equals 0. I add 3 to both sides. 2x is equal to 3. Divide by 3, or by 2, x is equal to positive 3/2. Subtract 2 from both sides, I get 5x equals negative 2. Divide by 5, so x is equal to negative 2/5. Those are my two final answers. Alright, that's going to end part 1. I'll do the second half in another video. It won't take long.